Some folks got the patience of the angels, not me. My heart, well, it yearns for vengeance. When they leave the place, I'm gonna leave it smoking. Hearts to be healed and their ribs to be broken. Hearts to be healed and their ribs to be broken. When they leave the place, I'm bound to leave it smoking. Chaos to the floor, I see them moving around. Yeah, heartbreak holds me down. When he said I'm halfway across my town. Give it light to check tracks. Stole my morals, I don't need them back. Now they gotta stand at the problem you see. I'm in these doors, if I keep it, can I score where I see? I don't know. Maybe I did not undergo
while you can and get up. Get what you can while you can and get up. Get what you can while you can and get up. Get what you can while you can and get up. Get what you can while you can and get up. Get what you can while you can and get up. Get what you can while you can and get up.
To Slow State, who's one of the most evil, wicked, deviant, deceptive, power-hungry, power gaming slaves I've met in a while.
Mic check. How am I coming through? I'm not sponsored by Peach Knee High, but it is the best pop on earth, and I definitely should be. It's true. What's up, Plumpy and John Beert and 10th Man and Peace Dynamo and K2 is cooming. Let's see who else is here. Leah Godinez, and happy Mother's Day to you and to Katie and to whoever it applies to. What's up, Not Laws? Thank goodness Chuck in Tennessee is here. Hi, Sarah, bringing in the first dono of the evening. I didn't even have to start grifting before it started paying off. Thank you, Sarah. Let's do, you know what we're doing bombs for the first one.
When you hear the sirens or anti-aircraft guns, you must get under cover at once. If you're in the open with no cover, lie down. The most important rule of all is never to stand staring at the sky. If you don't take cover, you may get hurt.
And if you're watching over on Flow State, you should be watching on the Powdered Dusty. I put the link in the live chat and in the description box. Benjamin, what's going on? An Orthodox guy. And Joseph and Scott and Katie K and Osimanda and just Becca, and that's it. I'm jumping down the bottom. And Nidish. All right. Let's see. So I was over on Grid Ones earlier this evening. I participated some in a debate thing. I debated against Glenn Lawrence about whether or not courts favor women in divorce. I, of course, think that the courts are fair when it comes to divorce, and he thinks that they are biased against men. I won that debate. By the judges' consensus, not just by my opinion. And so, Glenn, if you're watching this, nana nana boo boo. But the more interesting topic that I heard while I was over there was not my debate at all. It was between two women regarding whether or not sex is an obligation in marriage, and whether or not there can be grape within marriage. And after the debate, it was taken from a religious perspective. And after the debate, after they were done, when the rest of the people were up on panel, one of the women who was debating said that, made the claim that we've heard before, that marriage is a religious institution. Actually, biblical is the word that she used. And she doesn't even think that non-religious people should get married. So she said biblical. And so my question then was, well, what about Sarah and Abraham? Which, if you don't know your Bible, Sarah and Abraham were Old Testament, like early in the Old Testament. There was no Bible around then. And anyways, we didn't get to finish that. We didn't really get to engage that discussion at all. But I did send her. She sent me a message on Discord, and kind of asking me to clarify what I was asking her, and then saying she'd be happy to engage it. And I sent her. She's still over there. I broke my own rule. She's still over there. But she said she'd be happy to engage the topic more, and would like. And so I'm hoping that she'll pop up here at some point tonight, and we can go over that, which I think it's absurd that marriage would be a primarily religious institution. It's not. If it were between a man and woman and God, then you wouldn't have traditions and ceremonies and blah 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 blah. It's a social institution, and it always has been, and it always will be. But like all social institutions, religion tries to co-opt it. So they say it's between man, woman, and God. I know the link isn't up yet. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it though. If people want to start siphoning in, I'm gonna do my little spiel, but then I'll bring you guys on in a second. Where was I? Between man, let's see. It's a social institution. Marriage is and always has been, and religion tries to co-opt it, just like Christianity co-opted time, our calendars, right? The AD, the BC. That's a religious co-opting of the calendar, which is not time. Is not a religious institution. The date is not a religious institution. So co-opting it by religion, that doesn't, whatever. It's the same thing here with marriage. And the reason that non-religious people would get married, and I've had this debate with Jim Bob, I've had this debate with Andrew Wilson, is the same ones as religious people. It's a public recognition of a partnership. That's it. All the benefits that apply to religious marriage also apply to non-religious marriage, along with the pitfalls. So, anyways, hopefully she'll come over and we can hammer that out. If she does, I'm going to put everybody backstage except for her, and I'll just talk to her for a bit. The other thing that she said that was interesting is that under church canon, I think she's Orthodox, under church canon, that blowjobs are considered sodomy, and so against church whatever decree, which sounds awfully draconian. Ben, what do you think about blowjobs being banned by the church?
Good luck trying to ban something like that. It's not going to work.
Well, good to see you.
Yeah.
Redo it. What's going on over there?
What's up, buddy? Been a while.
Has been.
Yeah, marriages are just a contract, aren't they? Isn't that what it is? It's like a contract.
So there's two different types of. I think in my mind, there's two different types. There's the religious ceremony, and then there's the legal component. You really only need the legal component, and I do think that actually you need it, because with estates, with wills, with custody, for all sorts of reasons. You would want something that's formally recognized.
I mean, even in like the legal system, you like swear on the Bible, right? So like there is like, I don't know, like if it is a contract, then there's like the religious component to that contract is under God sort of thing. Like
The religious
don't
component to a marriage contract is superfluous. It's unnecessary, right? There's no pragmatic component to that. If that's a spiritual addition, then you don't need to actually have that involved in the ceremony or the documentation at all.
But why do people swear on a Bible in court?
Symbolism.
Isn't it so that like they don't lie?
It's just symbolic, right? You could swear on a magic 8-ball if it made you feel something. Right. It's not because the Bible actually makes it so. It doesn't make it so people can't lie.
No, but I mean, like,
so
people,
what about like common?
People respect the Bible.
People respect.
Like if you swear on it, you won't lie. Yeah, and if you swear on it, you won't lie. Is basically what the.
So what about like a common law? How does that tie in? I guess like the law is a bit different over here. But yeah, thank you for having me.
I mean, I don't know that. I mean, common law. I don't know how that would or wouldn't tie in. It seems like if marriage was just a contract
over
between
here, I think it's like 6 to 8 months. They've been putting it on. If it's 6 to 8 months, they own your shit at that point. If they don't go home, they're always there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. You're not married. I know that you can get squatters' rights some places pretty easily by having
but pretty much they own your shit at that point if they have it. Like if you're there for like 6 to 8 months, whatever it is, we can look it up. I don't know. It's a bit different in China,
Alex, what do you mean YouTube has me featured? And which channel? Because I'm streaming to Flow State and Powder Dusty.
All right, can I restream your YouTube to my channel?
Sure.
All right. Of course you love that, right? And
no. I'm fine with it. I just Cage. That when you come over here, I don't tend to leave you on stage very long because you overtalk.
Yeah.
So you can restream. I don't care. That's why the button's there. You're welcome to restream. Just
no. Yeah,
if I kick you, I'm dropping it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
10th man, what do you think?
Fucking guy.
I literally just got done arguing with somebody. I can't believe that this is the topic. You brought this up, and I'm like, oh, no. So.
Yeah, we have like weird different laws over here. You know what I mean? Like, what about the common law over here? Yeah.
All I can say about the marriage thing is
Yeah.
this. I get a little bored of supposed religious people and or religious institutions or whatever.
But every marriage, you know what they got to do? They got to go sign.
Dude,
got to go sign something on a
hold
paper.
on. I was asked a question.
All right.
I love how these religious people and institutions always want to say, you can't be part of us unless you follow our rules.
You're bullshit. Yeah, I'll be here and talk for a minute, Yeah.
All they do is tell everybody else, if we don't do what they say, then we can't be part of their group, or we can't do this, or we can't do that. And that's why for a very long time, and I'm kind of starting to lean that way again, I teeter back and forth with, outlawing religion at all.
Why are you teetering, buddy?
Because when I advocate for religion, then they tell me I can't be part of it because I'm gay. Blah, 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 blah. It never stops with the rules. And it's like, okay, well, then how about you're just not allowed to have...
You have like a mental illness or something? You're gay?
How about we just shut down your hate group then? How about we just shut down your hate group? We'll just shut it down because it's a hate group now.
No.
Yes.
No.
I guess Flo wants me to fight you on this.
Oh, shit, you're the wrong one. I just figured if you guys were going to talk at the same time that you guys could just have it out.
Yeah. Well, let's talk with the.
Well, you
quote,
asked me to say something, or else I'd be quiet.
I
still.
did.
Yeah,
I did
10th
ask you to
man.
say.
What do you want to talk about, bud? All right, what do you want to get? Yeah. See you later. Okay.
Well, what type of group just
Buddy,
sits there and tells everybody else
me,
that they're
myself,
pieces of
and
trash
I.
all the
Me,
time?
myself, and I. You ever heard of that group?
What kind of group that wants people to join their group sits around and tells everybody they're garbage all the time?
How
Are we
the
on
fuck do you
Rizla's
join
channel?
me, myself, and I?
That was pretty good. A lot of them do.
No, I'm just
All of them do.
asking.
What I didn't understand was when the Mormons came to, they come to your house and knock on your door, but you can't go and check out their church until you're a member.
It's interesting, right?
It doesn't make sense.
Hey, you know what's funny? Like, as Jehovah Witnesses,
Well, I mean, you can
I
always
lived
tell them to
in
go
like
away and come back.
what they call the projects in the United States, right? So yeah, so every day, every Sunday, these motherfuckers knocked on the door consistently. You know what I mean? Like, they give you pamphlets and that. You'd have to hear them out and try to be nice to them. And eventually, you know what I mean? Like, I was just fucking with them. But yeah, over months and months and months, if not years, these motherfuckers kept knocking on the door, waking people up when they're trying to get some rest. And you know what I did? I looked at them directly in the eye. I'm like, I worship the devil, which I don't. You know what I mean? But I told them that, and they like, should have seen their faces when I said that shit to them. You know what I mean? They never knocked on my door ever again. There's a great tricky way to get rid of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now people can rest.
Ben, you can stay because you're not always here and you're pretty well behaved. The rest of you, I'll bring you back up in a bit. Beth, welcome. How did you do?
Top 3, but got a little in the weeds in the last one. Finally, somebody to match my energy, and yeah, it's all good. Somebody else needed to win for a change.
Did you win the last one?
I've won 2 out of 3.
Okay, so I've already kind of given the spiel to the audience. I said, basically told them about the thing with Sarah. And did you watch any of that, or you just came straight in here?
I just came straight in here. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, I kind of gave him the backstory and said that you had said that marriage is biblical, and I said, so what about Sarah and Abraham? And do you want to go ahead and give your response?
Yeah, sure. Just because the Bible was written at a certain time, that that really doesn't mean anything. I mean, we can date those texts to times where a lot of people like to question even the authenticity of it. Marriage is a ritual that's been around probably as long. It's part of religion, which has been around as long as people have understood what fire is. And quite frankly, I think that state-sanctioned marriages do nothing but hurt people in the long run.
But isn't it also part of the state?
Well, of course. It's a good way for the state to get money. I mean, it's no different than a contract, I would say. But, I mean, it kind of cheapens it. And like I said, especially considering the divorce rate in this country, it turns out to be kind of painful for people.
That doesn't have anything. When people are getting divorced, that's usually both a religious divorce and a secular divorce, right?
Yeah. However, when you are doing it strictly within religion, you can make those the agreements and the way things that run. So number one, you're not paying the state. Okay. Look, it costs $75 to get married. It costs $500 to file for your divorce.
I don't think that's accurate. Isn't at least not here.
In New York, it is.
Okay.
New York is brutal. Okay.
Right.
Other states, you're right. I can't vouch for how it runs in other states.
Don't you think that there's a reason to have it? Like, I'm not a fan of this state really at all, or rules or any of that shit, or taxes. It's all theft. But yeah. I definitely see a reason why you would have state-sponsored marriage, because if somebody's in the hospital, you don't want anybody walking in and going, I'm next of kin, right?
No, and all of that stuff can be established without involving the state through what they sanction to be marriage, okay? Even within covenant marriages, and we're seeing a lot more covenant marriages in this country.
Which is what? One that skips the state?
Skip the state, stick strictly within your religious church or temple or whatever. And yeah, you can make all of those same agreements and have actual leadership that has I don't know, more of a moral grounding and knows the people. You know what I'm saying? When you start going through the state, you've got people making decisions about your kids that don't know you, they don't know your children, they don't know what the family's gone through. And
If
with
you
government,
invite them in, you have to request that they get involved.
fair enough, but I mean, any divorce in this country, they automatically get involved. If that's one of the first things on the paperwork. Are there any children as a result of the marriage? What
Correct.
all have you guys bought? This, that, and the other. And
Well, it's like a liquidation. Divorce is a liquidation, and children are considered marital assets.
Absolutely.
So,
and like I said, it takes away the intimacy and the personal. You know, them. They, like I said, they don't know you, so you know. And it tends to create a lot more contention. A lot of people get really rich off of marriages ending in this country.
Flo, you money hungry. I am out. I haven't even grifted for any money yet. Bye, Pastor Tanks. Thanks for the money you've given me in the past. Sorry if I seem too money hungry when I haven't even grifted at all yet. Excuse me for the distraction.
Just get to the money part, all right? Just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
All right. So how would you address like next of kin and things like that then if you don't have some sort of a government system to recognize marriage?
There's plenty of paperwork that you can draw up without having the institution of a marriage that's sanctioned by the state. I mean, that's really the most easiest like thing in the world. I mean, we're talking about, you know,
A will, a POA,
wills, living wills. What's the other one there? Power of attorney paperwork, all of that stuff. That doesn't cost anything, and you can change it.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
a will, perhaps, if you want to get it registered with the state. However, when it comes down to things like power of attorney, and that would totally solve your problem of, oh, I'm next of kin and whatnot, because you're signing for who's going to come in and take care of things. So if you're incapacitated.
Objectively, all that is a lot more work than just recording your marriage with the state. What is the issue that you have with marriage in the state? And Ben, jump in if you have thoughts on it.
I mean, I could just say what marriage is in Jewish law. It's a contract where the woman agrees not to have sex with other men, and the man agrees not to bounce and to support the woman once she has a child. And
what was the first
all you
part
really
of
need
that?
is two witnesses in a contract. And
What was the
woman
first
agrees
part
not
of the?
to. The woman agrees not to have sex with other men,
And the man?
and the man agrees not to bounce and to support the woman after she has kids. And then
So he
all you need is two
doesn't agree
witnesses.
not to have sex with other women?
No,
It's not explicit.
in Jewish law. It's not.
It's not explicit. You're not supposed to, but I mean, it's not cool. I mean, you could add it to the contract. Like, that's just a basic contract. You can add a whole bunch of extra shit if you want.
And those contracts through the church, they don't cost anything, right?
It's not even through the church. All you need is two witnesses. You can just write it up yourself.
So what is the issue though with having the government involved? Is it just the money? If it were free, would you have an issue?
I still would have an issue just because, again, you're inviting in total strangers into your life. Whereas doing it through, like your church, your religion and whatnot, you're dealing with a pastor and religious leaders who know you guys and they work with you. And, it's the same thing as far as counseling goes. These are your counselors. These are the people who help you.
So are you against all government?
I think the government should be a lot smaller than what it is. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. But on the same note, I'm a woman and I stay in my own lane when it comes to politics.
So if it is a contract, you need a way to enforce that contract. And so I mean, like, technically the government shouldn't be involved unless the contract was broken by one of the parties.
And even that.
How would you enforce a contract if there's no enforcing entity?
It is enforceable. It's absolutely still enforceable. Number one, if you can't deal with it within your religious structure and with your religious leaders, those contracts can still be taken to court. There's plenty of people who have covenant marriages and then end up in family court fighting over this, that, or the other.
So then you're back to the issue. Then if you don't want strangers involved in the family, then you don't want them involved in the family, right?
I personally wouldn't, but
so who would enforce a contract?
Again, if you can't rely on doing it through your religious leaders, then yeah, you would end up taking it to the state, like I said.
Okay. So you're not actually opposed to the state being involved?
I am, but it's there for when you need it. Do you know what I'm saying? Look, I personally would have loved to have done everything like with my divorce outside of the state completely.
I love my divorce. It was expensive and it was the best thing I ever bought me.
I got mine for free and I still didn't like it. I wasn't even able to get a lawyer. I had to deal with it myself. So
I've argued this point with Jim Bob and Andrew Wilson, and what I've concluded is that there is nothing inherently religious about marriage. There is nothing Judeo-Christian about marriage. It's a human social tradition that's happened all throughout recorded history, and this narrative that it's a religious ceremony only and that people should not engage in it who are not religious is bunk. It's clearly a social one, and it's just another attempt of religion to take over things that are not rightfully theirs, such as time with the calendar.
I didn't even try to lock it down to strictly Judeo-Christian, Christian, Judaism, Islam. I'm not trying to lock it down to a single religion.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the point stands.
You'll find it even in pagan traditions, okay? I just still think that when it comes down to it, yeah, the less involvement you have to have with the government, the better. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Wouldn't you?
As a general rule, why not?
Yeah. No, as a general rule,
the government should only step in when you need them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you need them, you need them. I'm not saying that there aren't situations where, I mean, you know, it's not. I'm not saying that it's not good for them to be there, but it is better if you can work it out without them.
So can you agree then that marriage actually is not a religious only institution, and there is reason why when it's appropriate for non-religious entities to get involved?
In modernity, it has become not a religious tradition. So if we're talking about modernity. Yeah.
Well, we live in modernity. I think you'd have a hell of a time insisting that it was always a religious, that it was really a religious tradition primarily, or ever, especially when you've got so many different religions across the globe. But you've got pair bonding and mating generally all throughout the world throughout human history.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Also, religions weren't really separate from like the civil entity in a lot of cultures. Like you brought up the Celtics and the Aztecs and all that. It wasn't a religion. It was like that was their civilization. They had their civil affairs all mixed up with religion. Would either of you be happy with a theocracy?
No. I can't even go into that. Like I said, listen, when it starts coming to how we are arranging our politics and what we're working underneath, especially as a woman, I tend to stay out of that shit because I don't think women belong anywhere near making those kinds of decisions for a civilization. I think the men should lead it. And if that's what they're deciding to do, well, then, go ahead. You can pay $4,000, $5,000 to get out of your marriage.
So me and Ben both think that we would not like a theocracy. So does that mean that you agree that we should not have a theocracy?
Well, if that's again, men belong making these decisions and ruling them.
Should there be a theocracy in the world? I don't know. Would I want to live there? No. I'm glad there are non-theocratic places to live.
I'm going to bring people backstage up in just a second, but one last thing. Were you one of your talking points during the debate was that blowjobs are against the church sodomy laws?
I don't agree with it. Listen, okay, I had a debate this past Monday where we were discussing sexual morality within the Christian paradigm. Okay. And my opponent, and this was a round 2. Round 1, Emmett and I did this, and Emmett claimed that oral sex falls under the definition of sodomy. I disagreed with him thoroughly, won that debate. He wanted a rematch. Well, doing my homework, actually, I can't even believe I'm saying this. According to both church law and to actually, amazingly enough, to U.S. law, oral sex did in fact fall under the sodomy laws and was enforced until 1960 when the Supreme Court, they only used it to go after homosexuals. In 1960, the Supreme Court overturned it and said it's unconstitutional and you can't do that. But according to church dogma, which it blows my mind, technically it's immoral. But my argument was that there's one Bible verse that totally trumps it all because I relied on biblical law, not dogma from a church. And the biblical law states that whatever lustful, dirty ideas that is going through your mind, get married, and then whatever you do is no longer a sin in your own bedroom.
Which verse is that?
That is going to be 1 Corinthians 7, verse 36.
36?
36.
Cool.
And if you look at 1 Corinthians 7, the first part of it, it's like 1 through, I don't freaking know, 15 or something. It outlines outright how when you get married, a woman no longer has ownership of her body. Her husband does. And likewise, the husband doesn't have ownership of his body, and you're not allowed to deny each other sex, except for by mutual agreement if you're going to be fasting or in prayer. But then you've got to come back together and you've got to bang, because otherwise the Satan can take advantage of you using your dirty, lustful thoughts.
So you're not supposed to sneak up on a chick while she's praying and be like, while you're down there.
Well, she can still be down there, but as soon as she says amen, I mean,
she just needs to finish praying first.
You're good to go.
Okay. It's hard to talk to God with a mouthful.
I actually, in this debate tonight, I totally stole my opponent's argument for that. I don't agree with it at all. I think
I thought that was interesting that you guys had to swap spots like that. What's
mean.
Her normal account? It's not normally below me. I owe her an apology anyways. Last time she came up here, I was really
What
mean
is
to
her
her.
normal account, please?
I can't. I'm having a brain fart.
All right, how about I list a few? Moonlight?
No.
Carolina Girl 13?
No.
Sarah G?
No.
Then I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, no, she's got another one that I can't think of right now. But anyways, if you're watching this below me, sorry for being a dick. All right. I'm gonna bring people back up in just a second, but first, Katie K, thank you for the £6. She says, "Happy Mother's Day to all you awesome mamas. Enjoy your day."
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, Cage. and Duck, and 10th Man. Cage, you got feedback. Let me mic check. Yeah, you got feedback for some reason. But it's good to see on camera. I thought about charging a cam off tax like Chaotic Truth does, just because people like watching that shit better. And Due Diligence, welcome.
Peace.
Anybody have any thoughts on blowjobs or divorce, or should we move on?
I'm just going to be quiet for a little bit.
Oh, hey, 10th Man.
Hey.
All right, we'll move on. Due, how did the rest of Restless thing go last night? You're borging.
Hey, you mind if I cut in for a second?
Yes.
Ben, do you live in Israel?
I do.
Do you live in Binyamina?
I do not know.
I've been to Israel.
Aviv
I have
or
friends in
something, whatever they call
Binyamina.
it.
It's very nice there.
Oh, sweet.
I loved it.
You coming back?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love
All
it
right.
there.
Well, say hi when you come back.
And Kimberly Ann Carter is banned. If you're watching on Flow State, go over to Powder Dusty. I'm going to close the Flow State side soon. There's 8 of you. You're watching on the wrong channel. I got a new channel. And I'll drop the link again in just here in a second.
Yeah, I'm trying to extract money off of people here.
Are you?
Yeah, but we're gonna do it a different way. You know what I mean? We're gonna take her soul, and then later
I
on,
made the top 100 list again for super chats.
You want to be number one trending on YouTube, bud?
I made it on Friday. I made number 43, if I remember correctly.
You want number one? You could be like the number one trending on YouTube, or no?
I'm just not convinced that you can help me do that, Cage.
I guarantee I can make it happen right now. But you know, I'm gonna need your soul, though. You know what I mean?
Cage, you've never had more than like 4 viewers at a time.
How much? All right. What about my other things, like with business and that? You want to go look into my business?
No.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I guarantee I can make you number one YouTube. But I'm saying I need your soul, bro. Are you willing to give that up?
You're weird as fuck.
Yeah, it's super weird, huh?
Did you because I know a lot of you are the God-fearing type, but speaking of the grift, a bunch of the atheist panel folks raised like 80K today on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fundraiser, but
for what?
80K is 80K. Yeah, the organization is called Recovering from Religion. So it was cool. Matt Dillahunty was one of the bigger names that spent some time on it. Arden Hart, if anyone knows her. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Seeing people that you might see pop up in Discord or whatever, or hosting shows on YouTube all the time, taking calls and stuff.
No, but it's easy though. Like, how much money would you like to make? We put a 1, and how many zeros would you like? But I need your soul.
Cage.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, there were like 700 people in the audience for context. But yeah, 80K, and I left for a while when I came back.
Your mic is going.
Yeah, now you're all muted.
Yeah, it was like when I came back from my run, I was like, "Holy crap, that says 69,000." So I just thought I'd bring that up. It was pretty cool to see for the grifters.
Nice. I'm in a weird spot with that because I obviously am not religious, and I think that religion is generally an issue, but for some reason I get along with Christians better usually than I do with atheists. Atheists are kind of a weirdo lot.
Well, atheists are pretty much like just denying what's obvious.
I have custody of my kid.
Yeah. And well done. Well done, bud. You know what I mean? If you're taking care of the children, if it's for the children, you know what I mean? You know, if you're trying to, you know, I have no issue with that.
And another one put in hidden. What are you groaning about?
That comment. Saying, it's like, okay, like, how big would you like to get? I'm saying, like, right now, like, I know people, right? But we need your soul in order to get to a certain.
All right, Cage. How can we do this? How do I transfer my soul to you? I want a down payment.
Okay, well, you have to read the fine print, and all you're gonna do
I want a
is
down
sign.
payment. I'll trade you my soul. I want to be number one. But in the meantime, I want an advance on my number one status. I want $100 advance.
No, it doesn't work that way.
You're a shitty soul salesman.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, usually when you come and you want something from somebody, you're willing to negotiate. Seems like your terms are a bit too strict, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Usually there's something you give up
very
front for it.
terminology, right? You better dot your I's, cross your T's, and look into the fine print.
Yes, bounties are a go. And Chuck's, be careful not to actually sell my soul. Don't worry. I don't think that it's something that you can get rid of.
No, but I heard that you're probably trying to do that, so I'm here to, you know, facilitate it if you like. Number one, every super famous. And
what is he getting up front for it? That's my question, because so far
he gets nothing at all except what he puts into it.
So he gets nothing. So he's going to give you something, and then he's going to wait on your word.
I'm supposed to take an IOU.
Exactly.
Nothing to do with me at all. It has nothing to do with me.
I'm not giving away my soul on an IOU. I need some upfront money.
Is IOU a vowel? So we'll deal with it with a consonant, right?
Sounds like a ripoff to me. I wouldn't.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get definitely.
So you're not actually prepared to negotiate anything.
I don't think he's authorized to.
Alexandria, I think that he's drunk.
Is Cage on the spectrum or on crack? Neither. Actually, what happened was back in the day, Flo sold me methamphetamines and that, and then got his guns taken away.
All this shit I got from you, and you're out of the studio. That was quick. What a little bit. If you're watching on Flow State, you should go to Powder Dusty. Actually, you will anyways, because it's going to redirect over there when I drop it now.
That was the entire reason I was coming in, to get rid of him.